Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Play Some Video Games, the only gaming podcast that is PSexy, and we know it. It is I, your host, Kevin Austin. With us this week is none other than the mayor of PlayStation Island himself, Kyle. Kyle, how we doing, buddy?
Happy to be back with you, sir. This is exciting.
Exciting as always. It was a big day, but we'll get into that in just a moment. But for the first time ever, I have the pleasure of podcasting with the man who is straight out of Anaheim himself, Devin. How we doing, sir?
I am doing fantastic.
You sound entirely too calm for what we're going to talk about this evening.
If you only knew.
I know, right? But before we get into that, let's catch everybody up with what we've been playing and kind of what we've been up to since we've last spoken. Kyle, why don't you go first?
You know, not that much has been on my playlist right now. Still going back into Overwatch, playing that pretty consistently, multiple days a week. Dang, that game is good. Sometimes I wish it wasn't so good so I could play other things. However, I have had the opportunity to jump in a little bit to Final Fantasy 15. Only about 4 hours into it so far, and I will say it's interesting. I think it's good. I don't think it's not. It's definitely not bad. I'll put that out. It's definitely not bad, but there are definitely some things that I'm still kind of trying to understand. I feel like they have a whole bunch of disparate parts that they've kind of put together because they feel like all these little things individually were really cool, but I don't necessarily know 100% yet as if them coming together makes a cool game. Overall, I'm really enjoying it. Like, I'm definitely going to continue to play it. I had some concern because I had heard that, you need to watch Kingsglaive and the little anime that they had done to understand the story. I didn't watch any of those things, but I'm still following the story perfectly fine because it's a so far at least, pretty straightforward story. The combat's really fun. I am enjoying the combat a lot. I enjoy the old school JRPG where you have the menu system and you're kind of waiting for, your active time battle and all that. I like that setup. However, having a nice little more action-y game is pretty fun. Some people have compared it more similar to like a God of War style combat. I don't think it's like that by any means because basically you can just hold down the button. There's not a lot of like button press combinations you really have to come up with. But overall, I think it's a nice little change for Final Fantasy. Like I said, I've enjoyed the combat. The story has been fine so far. The little side things you do are interesting, like apparently cooking and fishing and photography are a big deal. One of your characters one of his special abilities is in the middle of a fight. You can ask him to take some pictures. So he jumps out, takes some photos of the fight as it's going on, which is kind of fun. But yeah, it's good. I'm enjoying my time with it. I think that this is a game I'll probably see through to the end. I usually don't stick with games that are this long all the way to the end. But this one so far I'm enjoying, and if this keeps it up, I think I'll definitely keep playing it. The only downfall I've really found to the game so far, some people don't really like the car. The car doesn't bother me at all. The camera, though, is a little frustrating sometimes, especially in fights or in battles. There are times when I literally cannot see anything other than I can see the little symbol over the enemy that I'm locked onto. So I know I'm locked onto somebody, and I'm holding it on the button to hit them. I just don't really know if I'm hitting them or not. Like, I assume I am, but I don't always know. So I think that's the biggest downfall that I've seen so far, is just that camera can be really tough, especially in situations where you're in tight corridors. It's really hard for you to really be able to see well in your surroundings, which sometimes is a little frustrating, but it's never throw your controller, I quit, I'm done with this, frustrating. The warp strikes that your character does are awesome, that Noctis does. That's a lot of fun. I really enjoy that mechanic in the game. But overall, like I said, I'm having a good time with it. But that's actually about all I've been playing really right now. It's just Overwatch and Final Fantasy 15.
Wow, not too much on Kyle's plate for once. Normally you're able to go on with 5 or 6 different titles.
Well, it's that time of year. Life's busy right now.
This is true. So I'll go into mine next because I don't have much to talk about either because same situation. Work is starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel for this year, if you will, but I've been pretty much jam-packed with all that stuff there. So the only things I've been playing, Animal Crossing New Leaf, still picking away at that with the new updates. Playing Destroy All Humans still, the remake from PS2 era on the PS4. And then lastly, I'm playing a game called Earth's Dawn, which was a title that Josh actually reviewed, and the review is already up on the website for all those of you who are interested in checking it out. I don't want to spoil anything right now. We will be doing a review cast. Nathan, Josh, and I are actually all playing this title. And so far, it all seems pretty positive from the three of us, although I think Nathan and I are enjoying it a little bit more than Josh did. But overall, it's a cool little kind of hack and slash type game, if you will, but with some different twists on it. So it's pretty cool. The art style is probably the highlight of the game. It's very artistic kind of anime-ish a little bit in nature, but it's very cool. So you can hop over to the website, see his review done quick and his full article if you're interested in that. And we will, as I said, do a review cast probably in the new year. But that's it for me. So Devin, sir, what have you been playing?
All right, so I've been playing a lot of Dishonored 2. Just really enjoying that, taking my sweet time with it because I'm trying to get the Clean Hands playthrough. It's very, very similar to the first game as far as like pacing, art style. I'm playing as Emily, who is a little different than Corvo, has a couple of different abilities. But so far, having a blast with that, just trying to pick apart all the levels and in as stealthy a manner as I can without killing anyone, which is very, very frustrating, but also very, very rewarding once you finally get through a level without having murdered anyone. Other than that, I started the campaign of Call of Duty, and I am really enjoying that. It was a very, very nice surprise to see just how different that game was from what I was expecting it to be. Just the beginning of the campaign, the pacing of that, how quickly you just jump into like the fighter, the jet or whatnot. It's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying that. Looking to get back into that and finish that campaign up. Just having a blast with that right now, actually. But that's really about it as far as what I'm playing this week. Just those two games, because it's getting to the end of the year. Work has been busy, and just dealing with all the kids and all the things that the kids are doing at their school. So it's just got these two on my plate, and that's more than enough.
So did you enjoy the first Dishonored, or you just kind of bought into the second?
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, played that one through. Got the Clean Hands trophy. Didn't kill anyone. It was great.
See, I couldn't even imagine. I played through the Dishonored on PS4. Really liked it. I liked a lot of stuff Bethesda does anyway, so I got a kick out of it naturally. But I cannot even imagine attempting to do Clean Hands by any means.
Sleep darts and blink. Just choke everybody out, and if they see you, shoot them with a sleep dart.
Oof. Who knows? Maybe I'll go back to it someday. I am looking forward to Dishonored 2, though, but that'll probably be a bit down the road for myself. So that's kind of it from us. Let's get into the reason we're meeting tonight. We kind of rushed record. It's Saturday night, which is not normally our normal night to record, but we had to get this out before the week started simply because, unless you're under a rock, man, PSX started today. So we had to cover the huge flow of news that kind of hit us. And to be honest, at least myself, and I know we talked a little bit about it off the air, we were a little bit surprised with how much they brought to the table today, considering, they did have a decent E3, but there was a lot of speculation, a lot of things were like, oh, these games are way, way down the line. And, they got some criticism from that. No, certain games we were expecting to see, there was no sign of them. And then the PS4 Pro announcement came out. We thought that was going to maybe have a little bit something extra added to it. Didn't really have that. So PSX, I just thought it was going to maybe be a little bit more follow-up from E3 to say, hey, here are some of the games we showed before. We're a little bit farther along. Here's some release dates. We got some of that, but to be honest, we got a slew of all new stuff that we didn't know was coming down the pipeline. That kind of hit us. But the reason we also rushed and the reason Devin's here with us this evening is because Devin's actually live from PSX right now. So he will be giving a first-hand account as to what Kyle and I saw virtually through the interwebs as far as what PSX brought us this year. So let's dive right into it, gentlemen. Right off the bat, Naughty Dog started the conference and they ended the conference, but we'll start at the beginning, of course. And they unveiled Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, which was announced. Focuses on Nadine and Chloe. It is being referred to as a standalone chapter, longer than what Left Behind was. You do not need Uncharted 4 to play it. But here's the thing. We kept hearing for a long time that Naughty Dog was going to have that story DLC. Where they haven't completely said that this is a story DLC they're referring to, because, let's be honest, there's no Nathan Drake in it. So that's a little weird. However, this is pretty exciting and pretty big for a standalone DLC. What did you guys think of that? Kyle, how about you first?
I was really excited. I mean, I am looking to find the answer, and I tried to look online before this. I don't know if this is that single-player DLC they talked about that I bought without knowing it ever existed, so I don't know if I have to buy this now, too. But I'm actually really excited about this. I think this is a cool story to take on. Chloe's a character I think that a lot of people enjoy, and her not being around as much lately has been kind of a bummer, but I think having Nadine in there, too, which is another character folks, for the most part seem to like. I think there was definitely some take her or leave her, but overall I enjoyed her as a character, and I enjoy most of the characters in the Uncharted stories, so I'm excited about this. I'm really looking forward to playing it. I'm definitely, pretty much anything Naughty Dog does I'm down for. I think they definitely take their time. I think they're very considerate and they try to be purposeful with what they do. There's never, very rarely do you ever see them do things on a whim or without a lot of intention behind it. So I'm excited about this. This is not what I expected to see from them. I definitely expected, they kick off the show with something from Naughty Dog. Likely, a lot of people were thinking there's going to be some DLC focusing on like Sam and Sully or something like that. But I'm down for this. I'm totally 100% down for this, and I definitely am looking forward to playing it.
And Devin, what do you think seeing it firsthand on the big screen, if you will?
I was absolutely blown away. I was just mesmerized. Like, what is this? Because it just starts off, and I mean, you have no idea what it was. It's a chick with this red scarf on her face. You're like, okay, where are we going? What's going on here? And I was just enthralled. Like, this looks fun, but what is it? I think they did a great job of opening and just leaving it totally open to interpretation of what this might be. I'll be honest, it looked like a Naughty Dog game, so I assumed it was probably going to be the Uncharted DLC, but so far I can't find anything that says that this is the Uncharted DLC. Just like you, I thought we would be getting like a story that's about Sam and Sully. Like, I definitely thought that was going to be the DLC, but I love Chloe and Nadine as characters. They're actually two of my favorites in the series, so I love to see something like this. So I am all in, and I'm super excited about being able to pick up this whenever it drops next year. I'm all in on it. It looks great. I'm excited.
It does, and I'm glad you brought that up. The look of it. I mean, Uncharted 4 looked great anyway, and this just almost looks a little bit better to me graphically.
Yeah,
it's very polished, very well done. I mean, that's typical Naughty Dog style. They don't show you anything until it looks, as near perfect as possible. I mean, it was a near 10-minute gameplay demo they showed of this too. So I mean, that was a long trailer, and luckily it didn't have the same little glitch and restart situation they had when they unveiled Uncharted 4. There was none of that. But you're right. Everyone's kind of like, well, is this a story DLC? I mean, if it is or it isn't, I'm not angry either way, because this is cool. There are two characters that I'm looking forward to as well, to exploring a little bit more about. So I mean, this is a win-win. If they come out later and say that, hey, there is going to be a Sam and Sully or another Nathan Drake, DLC, whatever it's going to be, then that's just icing on the cake, because I'm perfect. If this is all that they're going to give, I'm completely happy with it. It looks great. It's a twist on the story as it is, and you get to explore something you haven't really seen and take it from a different angle. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Can't be angry with that at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. So next thing they kind of unveiled. This was leaked and teased a couple days earlier. We started seeing some rumblings on the internet that Marvel vs. Capcom 4 was going to be shown at PSX, which it in fact has come to be. It is known as Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, though, as opposed to the 4 on there. All that's been seen so far, I believe, is just the launch trailer, if you will, which basically just shows Mega Man X and Ryu taking on Iron Man and Captain Marvel in a battle over Infinity Stones. So just like the movies are circling around the Infinity Stones, this game is going to circle around it as well. The trailer that we saw, like, once again, it wasn't actual gameplay, it was a cinematic trailer, so we didn't really get to see how different it's going to be, if it's going to look more like the new Street Fighter games, or if it's going to continue to be a 2D type thing with the Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Either way, I'm very excited for this one. Marvel vs. Capcom is one of my favorite fighting games out there. Both my daughters actually love it as well, too. It's right up there as one of their favorites. They actually prefer it over Smash, which is blasphemy, I know.
Awesome.
But they still love it, and they basically love Marvel vs. Capcom and DC's Injustice. Those are their two fighting games that they enjoy. So they were very excited to hear that this was true. Looking forward to seeing some gameplay, some more characters shown. Yeah, I mean, some of the other, before we get to your guys' thoughts on it, some of the other rumblings that's on the internet too is that rumor has it, and we'll find out more as the Capcom Cup shows the actual game, is there may not be any X-Men characters in it. And if that's the case, that might have something to do with the whole Marvel Disney licensing issue going on there. Maybe they want to pay Fox to use the character. So that'll be interesting to have a Marvel versus Capcom without, a Wolverine or, Storm or Cyclops that, made at least cameos and all the others. So it'd be interesting to see. But Devin, do you know when the Capcom Cup is?
The Capcom Cup is actually going on right now as we speak.
Oh, okay.
So it started at 6. It's the final round. I was actually watching a lot of the Capcom Cup yesterday, like the actual, because it's 32, and I believe they whittled it down to like the final 8 for PSX. But it actually happened. Most of it happened yesterday.
Okay.
And I was enjoying watching that, man. Watching those guys play is just It is poetry in motion. It's insane watching what they do with all the tech moves and tech points and the reversals and the juggles. It's crazy. But I'm super excited about this. Marvel vs. Capcom is also one of my favorite fighting series. It'll be really, really weird to not hear Berserker Barrage.
Yeah, right.
If there's no Wolverine, that's just going to be odd. And that makes me wonder, will we get Spider-Man?
Oh.
So, he's in the MCU, yeah. So it'll be real interesting to see what characters, because then they'd have a whole slew of characters that we've never actually seen in these games. If we're not getting like the X-Men or anything mutants, because that's what Fox owns. They own the term mutant. Pretty much anybody who's a mutant they own. So it'll be real interesting to see what they do with Marvel, what characters they can actually use.
Yeah, true.
But otherwise, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited either way, and that's coming in 2017. Marvel vs. Capcom 3, to note, is available now on PS4. The game will be launched on Xbox One and PC as well, and the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 will be coming to Xbox One and PC a little later. I think PlayStation has the exclusive for right now. Xbox and PC will get it later on down the line. So, Kyle, what do you think? You excited about this one? Is this one on your radar?
So I've actually never played a ton of the Marvel vs. Capcom games. I've played enough of them to be like, yeah, this is really fun. I really suck at this. Which is pretty much the story for me with most fighting games. If there was a genre of game I could just choose to be good at and really want to be good at, it's fighting games. Maybe it's just because I'm old now. I don't know what it is, but I just stink at them. But I think this is cool. I think there's a lot of people who really enjoy this series. I will probably pick it up and play it for a while when it comes out. But again, this is one of those things that it just isn't in my gaming wheelhouse. I actually really enjoy watching like Evo and stuff each year. Like I enjoy watching that because I think the level of skill and talent that the people who are into that have is just kind of blows my mind. And I really appreciate, as Devin said, the poetry in motion that you see when you're watching those people that fight. It's really, really interesting and cool to watch. And if nothing else, I'm excited for it because I'm excited to watch other people play it, which I don't say very often about video games. I'm not a big watching other people play guy, but when it comes to fighting games, I could watch other people play them pretty much all day long if they're good. So yeah, I think it's cool. I am excited. I'm more interested when it comes down to will there be X-Men in it and things like that. That's the far more interesting part to me than maybe actually playing the game.
Yeah, I definitely want to see the roster and see who's down the line. And as always, in typical fashion, I'm sure they'll do DLC packs just like they did with Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So even if they show the roster during the Capcom Cup or, whenever they decide to unveil it, there will be more down the line, undoubtedly. Especially after the whole formula that Street Fighter 5 has been doing with all their DLC packs and stuff down the line. I don't see them doing anything different for this game. So, but moving on, the first of many different, I don't want to say retro, but vintage PlayStation titles to be announced was the Wipeout Omega Collection revealed. It's going to be full remasters of HD, Fury, and 2048. Will be coming in the summer of 2017. I don't have too much to say about this. I am a fan of the Wipeout series, but it wasn't always like I gotta play this type thing, right? But it always looked cool. It's a lot of fun to play. And honestly, I think it's slated, if it doesn't have any sort of delays or anything, summer is a perfect time for that because in my mind, it'd be a great summer time waster. You could just pick it up, play for a little bit, put it back down, play with some buddies, do some couch, versus head-to-head or multiplayer, whatever you want to do. I just think it's a good summer, bite-sized title to digest. So it's a good time filler in between these big anchor games that'll be coming down the line. Kyle, you any fan of Wipeout or?
Well, as most people know, any game that's mostly basically a driving or racing game, I'm typically not a fan of. I do have Wipeout on my Vita. And I mean, it's fun to pick up and play for a bit, but it's just, again, a style of game that I'm not super into. It is the kind, though, I feel like Sony is doing this because they're trying to test the waters to see, hey, if we jump full into a brand new game in this area, do people want it? Is it going to sell? How are people feeling about it? And I think by kind of bringing some of these things back and things we'll talk about, in a little bit, I think they are kind of testing the waters to see, like, hey, what do people think about this? We're going to make things look pretty and put some effort into them and add trophies and all that good stuff to make people feel like it's worth the investment to try them out again or play them again or maybe for the first time. But I think right now Sony's really kind of testing the waters on a few of these things to see, hey, which of these old things that we have should we pursue down the line? There are definitely people who enjoy Wipeout. Like I said, me, take it or leave it. I think this is cool for some people, but not something that I would pick up day one.
Agreed. And that's an excellent point that you said with them testing the waters and seeing what what will or won't work going forward. Should they make a new installment? Should they just do remasters? Whatever. You'll see a trend, listeners, as we go through this list of titles that are definitely harkening back to some of the vintage days of PlayStation. It almost seems like they're kind of setting up to try and have some anchor or legacy titles kind of there to fall back on, like Nintendo does with their franchises. Like, oh, there's a new Zelda, there's a new Metroid. Seems like PlayStation, with the announcements that we had today, almost seemed like they're trying to build that same type of thing, going, oh yeah, I remember Wipeout, that was kind of cool. Or I remember some of these insert other games here we haven't talked about yet, and test the waters and see what people think. How about you, Devin? Is Wipeout on there on your to buy list?
Probably not. I mean, it definitely hits on all the nostalgia factors. When they opened the show, they talked about it being like, the birthday of PlayStation. So you see a lot of these retro games. Now, Wipeout is one of those games that I definitely enjoyed on PlayStation 1. I'm just not a huge racing fan. But these games are always just a cool little game to play for a bit. They're fun, they're fast, they look incredible, and I think it plays really well in the nostalgia factor of just saying, you know what, PlayStation has been around for a while. Here's one of our staples. It's something that we started with. We'll go ahead and remaster these and get you a nice clean, updated version of some classic games that you love. I think it's just a great game to have, like you said, in the summer, where sometimes you get that summer lull. This could be something that just bridge the gap between two anchors, So I think it's a great thing for them to do, and testing the waters with them is great to see if should we get a new Wipeout or are these remasters enough?
Exactly, and I mean, who knows? They didn't really talk prices, but if you look at some of these remasters we get down the line, if you're paying $20-$30 for them, I can't be mad at that. You try and drop a $60 price tag on some of these, it's you're gonna have a much limited audience, but. $20-$30, a lot of these would be on my, pickup list at some point. So, but moving forward, the next one I don't have too much to say on because unfortunately I haven't dove into this game yet as much as I'd love to. And that was Destiny: The Dawning shown. It's a timed event running from December 13th to January 3rd. Features sparrow racing and a lot of other things all lumped in there. But unfortunately, I'm not familiar with Destiny too much. And Kyle, you're not either, correct?
Hey, good thing we have Devin here, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, Devin, we'll let you take it away and talk a little bit about Destiny and exactly what they showed and what it means.
Okay, so the new Dawning, it looks like it'll be a lot of fun. They're adding just a little touches to strikes, adding to like a point-based mode where you can go in with your friends and try to get this high score for like the different strikes or whatnot. We're also getting the Sparrow Racing League back, which is awesome. I actually played that today. Finally getting some new maps. It was something that came, they tested the waters with it. We thought we'd see it again before now because it's been a year since the last Sparrow Racing. So it'll be fun to dive back into that. Really enjoyed that when they put it out. They're also going to be doing something where I guess from the 13th to the 3rd, every day you'll be able to go in and actually unbox gifts. So you'll be getting gear and stuff. They're bringing back a couple of favorites. Icebreaker, which is a sniper rifle, which was like a staple for year one. Like if you didn't have Icebreaker, you might not get in the raid just because it was one of those really powerful, very, very useful weapons. So we're getting that back. We're getting new skins for it. There's going to be new gear to get. There's going to be new quests. So it's just, more Destiny for the people who love Destiny. So me and my crew, we're definitely going to jump in. I'm actually here with my raid team, and that was the first thing we did. We went to the Destiny booth and just checked that out and did some Sparrow Racing. So we're really excited about that. Plus, after the event, Sparrow Racing is going to make a permanent appearance in the private matches mode. So if you ever want to just jump into some Sparrow Racing, you can. So that's cool that they're actually doing that and giving us a stable, a always existing way to do Sparrow Racing if we want to, even though it's not going to count for like the record books or anything that they've done with the Sparrow Racing. But it is nice to know that it will always be there if you just want to jump in and race with your friends and have some fun. And it's just always nice to get more Destiny content, even though it's more of a themed event, just around the holidays and Christmas. It's just fun to just jump back into that universe and have something to do. Just some kind of content. I was hoping for a Destiny 2 tease or anything about what they'll be doing next year, but it's nice to have something else to jump back into that world.
I think what's most interesting with Destiny, and I do want to jump into it eventually at some point, I just haven't been able to, and unfortunately multiplayer games don't do too well with me only because of the time I have to play, but it's incredible what Destiny was when it first came out to what it is today. I mean, the evolution of this game is fascinating to say the least, having not even played, just observing what's going on. It's really great what they've done. And I, like you, was expecting a Destiny 2 tease or unveiling today, and that didn't happen. But to see everything that they've done in this 2 year span now since the original Destiny came out, I think. So the game is completely evolved, and I think that that's something that's going to be a staple. It's just another franchise added to your Halos, to your Gears of War, to your Call of Duties, and I like seeing it. It's a great success, and I like seeing that victory there and just how it's evolved. It's interesting to watch, even from the sidelines.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I'm just thrilled to have more content because I actually deleted it off my hard drive because I needed some space. But it'll be making a return on the 13th.
Hey, there you go. So next up then was the unveiling of Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy coming in 2017. No real time frame there. They showed some gameplay there. Not a whole lot to report. However, it's cool once again to see Crash Bandicoot. It's another one of those titles that PlayStation kind of touched back on, getting that retro vibe going again. For me, I think this, out of all the ones we're going to talk about later, is the only one I'd be willing to drop a $60 bill on. Platformers and good platformers are something that's lacking on PS4, as well as games you can play with your kids other than like the Lego games. So Crash Bandicoot coming back would be pretty cool to see. The full remaster looks kind of awesome. For $60, I would not be mad at paying for that 3 full games in remastered format. So I'm excited to see, and that'll be definitely pick it up for me for sure. So I'm excited for that. Devin, what'd you think?
This will probably be another pass for me. I am not a huge fan of platformers. I actually only played the very first Crash Bandicoot. I didn't play any of the other ones. Depending on like how I gauge my daughter and how she like picks up games, I might pick this up as something like entry level for her to play. But other than that, I don't see myself picking this one up, to be perfectly honest.
It's because you don't play enough Nintendo. Anyway,
that is true.
Platformers are more in my wheelhouse. That's okay. Kyle, what do you think? You excited to see the return of Crash Bandicoot to the Isle of PlayStation?
Yeah, I'm totally down with this. I think I am a weird PlayStation gamer in that I did not play many of the quote-unquote classic PlayStation games. I feel like I bought it and played all the weird ones. So I've actually never played any of the Crash games. So I'm actually totally down with picking this up and kind of, fixing that hole that I have in my gaming knowledge, because like I actually own one of them and I still have the game and I still have my PlayStation, but I've never actually sat down really and played it. Like I got it for a gift, I think, and I maybe played it for like 10 or 15 minutes, but I was in the middle of something else. So yeah, I'm actually really excited about this. I thought it looked good. I was excited with the way it looked because I was like, oh boy, how bad is this? Is how much effort, quote unquote, are they putting into this? But I thought it looked pretty good. So this is something actually I probably will be picking up when it comes out.
And I'll be right there with you. So the next thing, this is one of my favorites that popped out here because I've been fascinated with this game since the first unveiling and the first demo dropped, and I streamed the whole thing on our YouTube channel there. And that is, they dropped a new Resident Evil 7 trailer. Final Resident Evil demo is available now on PSN. Supports PS4, of course, PS4 Pro this time, and PSVR. So I really wish Kyle would do this, and I know he's not going to. I'd love for him to play it, stream it, and somebody else film him playing it with his VR helmet and just watch him pee his pants. But hey, I don't think he's going to do it for me, but I'm very, very excited about this game. I love the new direction we're seeing so far. I know some people that are like the diehard Resident Evil fans are like, this is not Resident Evil. I don't care. This looks great. And after Resident Evil 6, they kind of needed to kind of just blow up the formula and do something fresh again with it, and I've loved everything I've seen so far. So that's all I'm going to say about it. I'm way too excited. So Kyle, what say you? Will you play at least the demo on PSVR?
Sure. Since it's a demo, I will definitely do that. I played the first 3 Resident Evils. I actually own 4, 5, and 6, but haven't played them yet. Oh. So I probably will end up picking up 7.
But never play it.
Well, maybe. I mean, with me and my backlog, that's the way it often goes. But since it's a PSVR game, I might check it out. I know when this first was announced for PSVR back at E3, there were some people who played it and said they were having some really big issues with motion sickness in PSVR. From, now granted, very small echo chamber, very few number of people that I follow on Twitter and stuff. There's a number of people who have played it who said they didn't have as much of an issue with that this time around. So I'm hoping and really hoping that maybe a lot of the issues they were having as far as motion sickness goes are kind of taken care of, because being scared and then being motion sick together just doesn't seem like a great formula for anyone. But so maybe we'll see. I think I'll probably pick it up. I don't know if it'll be a day one purchase for me, just because obviously I'm not as committed to the franchise as Kevin is. But I am really excited that they are taking what is a AAA game and saying, all right, we're going to make this work in VR. and hopefully they're going to do it, okay. So that's kind of one of the things I'm excited about. I think it's hard to take a standard AAA game and make it work in VR, but maybe this will be, the sign of things to come down the road. So I'll definitely keep an eye out on it. I don't know if it'll be a day one purchase, but eventually I think I would like to play it.
There you go. And Devin, what do you think of Resident Evil 7 so far?
It scares the bejesus out of me. This game just looks super creepy. I do not handle scary games well. Like Dead Space, which people probably don't think is that scary. That was a game that I could literally play in like 30 to 45 minute clumps because just the sound and the fact that I always play with a headset on, it scared the mess out of me. Like, So people who say this isn't Resident Evil, I think this is absolutely like Resident Evil at its core. The first game was you in a creepy mansion. This is you in some creepy house. So I feel like it definitely is like the perfect way to bring back Resident Evil to its roots. Blow up the old formula, start with something new, something different, and it still holds on to Resident Evil at its core. It looks amazing. Am I going to play it? Maybe. Would I play it in VR? Absolutely not. Because I will probably pee myself. But it looks awesome. It looks absolutely incredible. I don't know if you guys have seen the deluxe edition that comes with like the house and the severed finger and all that stuff. I think that is absolutely the way you should do a collector's edition. But I'm excited for the people who are excited for this game.
Cool. Excellent. So the next two news tidbits I'm going to kind of lump together because I don't think there's too much for anybody to say on it. Ace Combat 7 was shown releasing in 2017. It will have PSVR support, so that'd be pretty cool. It's good to see another Ace Combat. Those games always look great, and I think if they do VR in it well, there's going to be more people complaining about some motion sickness for sure, but that's another cool title to see. And then, to the surprise of nobody, because honestly I thought he was already in the game, Street Fighter V announced the trailer showing Akuma. He's be part of the 2017 Character Pass, and additional new characters will also be available on December 20th. So more Street Fighter enhancements that we've seen down the line, so nothing too exciting for me. I thought Akuma was already in it, so it's kind of weird that he wasn't, but hey, he will be soon enough. Kyle or Devin, anything to say on this one?
I'm hyped. I love Akuma. He's like my favorite character in Street Fighter, so I was very sad that he wasn't in 5, and I'm glad that he's finally there. And Ace Combat 7 looks awesome. The line to play it was ridiculous, so I will try to play it tomorrow, but it looks awesome. I'm excited for that one.
Cool. So Kyle, we know you don't do too much of the fighting games, but does Ace Combat interest you at all, or is that also considered into the wheelhouse of racing in some way?
Actually, so here, this is going to sound really bad. I've never played an Ace Combat game, but when watching the trailer, I was like, wait, there's a story in this? Like, there's something going on? You're not just, like, flying around and shooting stuff? So I'm actually moderately interested now, because I literally thought Ace Combat were, like, really nice-looking games that you flew around in a plane and just shot things. But if there's a story and things like that, I am actually far more interested in Ace Combat 7 today than I was yesterday. So will I get it? Maybe. I mean, depending on what else is is going on at that time, what other games I'm playing. I'm far more interested in now than I was in it before. And Street Fighter V, like, man, I like fighting games. I just suck at them. So I think it's cool that they're continuing to follow this along, and that, I think most people anticipate there's going to be some sort of 2017 character pack. So I'm excited that they're still going with it. I know sales have not maybe been what they wanted it to be, but I think the game finally, you can pick it up really cheap now, and it seems like it's finally at the place where maybe it should have been at launch. There's some
definitely
really robust single player now, and there's some things there that people would really like. So, if it gets out a good enough sale, I probably would pick it up, if nothing else, just to play through the single player, and just dabble in it. Because, I do enjoy them, and every time Evo comes on, I, sit down and find a fighting game I have somewhere and dream of how good I, could be someday if I just practiced a lot.
So
all I'm saying is I want to live out a Top Gun fantasy in Ace Combat 7.
I know, right?
Just blast highway to the danger zone.
Exactly.
So the next thing shown was a trailer for The Last Guardian. I voiced my opinion on this game numerous times on the show. Doesn't really do anything for me at all. I have zero interest. I'd like to see it do well, and I'm hoping it does well. But it's just been too long for me to continue to care. But I believe Kyle is still interested in this, no?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely picking it up. Looking forward to playing it again. My expectations are tempered. I think it might be good, but it probably will have similar to issues to games in the past that Ico has done, in the sense of, hey, controls probably are not going to be exactly what I want them to be. Camera probably is going to be a little bit finicky sometimes and not do things the way I want it to. So I think if you have going with the right expectations, this might be an enjoyable game. I know they sent it out really early for reviews. People got it Tuesday, I think, last week, and our reviews go up on Monday. So, by the time you're listening
they gave
to
people
this,
some time to play, huh?
yeah, they did. They absolutely did. So it's part of me wants it to be good just because Shuhei Yoshida on stage today was so excited about talking about it. So part of me just really wants it to be good for him. But I think it'll be fine. I'm looking forward to playing it still. This trailer actually told me some things I didn't know. I didn't know there'd be more than one person in it. I thought there's gonna be one human person. No, there's more than that. Okay, so I learned some stuff. But yeah, I'm still looking forward to it. But this did not increase or decrease my expectations in any way.
Cool. What about you, Devin?
This is one of those games. It looked cool 10 years ago. I'm not interested anymore. I never got into Ico or Shadow of the Colossus, honestly. I still have them in the packaging for the PS3 collection they released. I just never played them. I'm not terribly interested in this. If it goes on sale at some point, I might pick it up just to see what it's all about. But it's not something I would say is high up on my interest level. I do hope that it is a great game and that people love it, just because they've been waiting for it for so long. And I think that unless it's great, it only hurts the PlayStation brand. So I do hope that it does really well.
I do too. I think we all have the same consensus there. We want it to do well. We have tempered expectations. I'm predicting a solid B kind of game on a grade level. So we'll see. So the next one, this is more retro news, if you will. Parappa the Rapper trailer was shown. Demo is available right now. And also, Parappa, Loco Roco, and Patapon are all being remastered for PS4 and PS4 Pro. All are going to be released in 2017. I'm excited for all of this. I did play the original Parappa the Rapper. I did play Loco Roco, so I'm excited about those. I did not play Patapon, but all of these titles excite me. I'll be completely honest. And it's funny because if you are a person that played Parappa the Rapper back in the day, the game is not good. Okay, don't get it twisted at all.
It is not.
It is not. But for some reason, I'm still excited to see them do it again, and I don't know why. And I don't know if it's just the name, it's the memories behind it, but it is not a good game. So I'm hoping this one is, but I'm excited nonetheless. I will probably be picking up all of this, probably without a doubt, to be honest. I'll be getting this one. So I'm excited for it. I want to see more what they're going to do. Have not played the demo yet, but it is downloading as we speak. So I will have something to report back soon on that. I know Donnie streamed some. It's already up on our YouTube channel now. People were watching it day one to see the game, so ought to be cool. Kyle or Devin, does it do anything for you at all, Kyle?
Yeah, actually, I'm down with all of these.
Nice.
I agree. Parappa, I think I do wonder if people, once they go and replay it, are going to be like, wait,
kick,
is this how this game
punch,
always was?
Kick, punch.
Is this what we really wanted? But I'm just a sucker for rhythm games. I really enjoy them. So yeah, I'm actually down for all three of these. Patapon with its, rhythm god game, and Loco Roco with this cool kind of unique platforming. I'm down with all of this. I'm really excited about these. Again, I feel like this is similar to some of the things we talked about earlier, where Sony's kind of dipping their toe in to see, hey, what is the interest level? Where do these things sit at? We can do some work and make some money. And if that works well, maybe we'll do more work and make more money down the road. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to all three of these.
And it's exciting, too, because honestly, even if you upgrade it to PS4 levels, the graphics on none of these titles have to be good at all. So it should be an easy development cycle if they decided they wanted to continue the franchises at all, or if they just want to do this as a one-time release. Should be fairly easy to do, so that'll be pretty cool. Devin, are you excited at all to see the return of Parappa the Rapper himself?
I wish you guys could see the confused look on my face. I have never understood the desire to play Parappa the Rapper. It confuses me to no end why this is even a game. I don't get it. I've never understood it. I get that it has this nostalgia. This was PlayStation, but this is one thing that I will be passing on so fast. And as far as Loco Roco and Patapon, those are just two games I didn't play, so I don't really have any intentions of playing either one of them. Not in my wheelhouse.
Funny thing is, I think I played both of those as PS Vita or PSP demos when I worked at Best Buy. They had those up on the demos. I think that's the only time I actually played those games, but they were both a lot of fun.
See, and this is actually, these are the style of games, and this is what I talk about when, why I'm a PlayStation fan. I definitely, and I played for the 360. I played that generation. I played 360 way more than I ever played PS3. But these types of things and these types of experiences are not prevalent or not something you see Microsoft typically coming out and talking about. Like this wouldn't have stage show there, and that's fine. Like that's just the way they do things. But this is the kind of stuff, the weird, quirky, we're going to take a risk and try this thing. This is the kind of stuff I like in my video games. So this is the reason that I came back to Sony and really have sat here, because they're willing to say, hey, we're going to put these on our stage because we think they're worthwhile enough to do it. And I love that kind of stuff. I love, trying to experience trying to look at all the different things and all the different ways we can play games. And this is just 3 pretty cool ways to me. Well, 2 pretty cool ways and one that Nostalgia just tells us is really cool.
Now, if they just remake, not in the remake, but if they make another Parappa the Rapper and they add a microphone to it and you can actually rap while doing it, I'm all in definitely.
Now, see, that I would play. That's why I don't even get why we call this Parappa. You're pressing buttons. There's no rapping. What are we doing here?
Just
let
mix
me rap.
Mix
let me
that
say
with,
kick punch.
what was it? Def Jam Rap Star? Was that the name of it that they did?
There you go. Yeah. Give me that.
I had that game. So if you mix the two of those together, that's my ideal Parappa the Rapper right there. But
exactly.
Who knows? Maybe they'll listen to the podcast. Hint. Come on, Sony, do it. Next bit of news here. All right, so the internet has hated on this next line of news we're going to talk about here so badly. So out of all the negative press I've seen out of PSX, it seems to be all focused on this one title, and that is none other than Knack 2 was revealed from Studio Japan. Appears to have co-op gameplay this time. Didn't give any release information yet, so it's probably most likely a 2018 title or very late 2017 title. All right, so personally, I played the first Knack. I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought it was an innovative take on the pseudo-platforming type. I thought the character of Knack was a lot of fun. I thought the animation was kind of cool. I'm not angry about this. Now, don't get me wrong, though. I did not pay $60 for Knack. I bought Knack later on, I think, for it's either 10 or 20 bucks, and I thought at that time frame that was a great buy. I had a lot of fun with it. It was totally worth it. My kids liked it, so it was cool. In my mind, the sequel had a great foundation for it to build upon, so this should fix a lot of the issues people had. But overall, I'm excited to see another Knack. But once again, I will not pay $60 for a Knack, but 30 to 40 range now that I know what Knack is, and would hope that this one is a little bit better and add the co-op functionality to it. That's cool. That's kind of more in my wheelhouse out of the Sony stuff we've seen going on. So I'm personally excited for it, even though the internet seems to hate on it. Kyle, I know you played Knack, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on Knack 2?
I am 100% down for Knack 2.
All right,
and I
cool.
will fight every person on the internet who says otherwise. No, I won't fight them. But I will say I never fully understood the hate that the original Knack got. Like, being like, hey, it's not for me. It's not great, sure. But people were like, I can't believe how down people are on that game. Like, I just didn't get it. And I also did not pay $60 for it. Mm-hmm. I got it, for 20 or 30 bucks, like much, much later. But I enjoyed my time with it. And honestly, the original Knack sold very well, maybe because it was a launch game. But Sony doesn't have a ton of quote-unquote family games. And this is a good, this fits in there really well. The fact that there's co-op, honestly, when I saw it, I was like, man, this is something my wife and I could play together, because we just finished playing Overcooked. We're looking at, playing some potential Lego games moving forward. But sometimes trying to get her to play PS4 with me is a challenge. She'd much rather go back and play the Wii, and then I want to cry and go hide in a corner. But more because of the controls, let's be real here. But, looking at Knack 2, like, I enjoyed the first one. Like, I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to hopefully playing it with my wife. I'm down with it. Like I said, I've never fully understood the Knack hate. Like I said, I think it's not a great game, but I thought it was fine for what it was. I thought Knack was a cool character. I thought the world was kind of fun. Mm-hmm. I really liked the art style of it. I thought it looked pretty cool. So yeah, it did get a little repetitive, but overall, man, I thought Knack was an okay time. Like, I don't get the hate. I really don't.
I'm there with you. So Devin, are you a Knack hater, or are you on board for this?
I am 100% on board.
All right.
This looked like a great game that I would want to play with my daughter. I love the fact that they threw in co-op. I also don't understand the Knack hate. I don't get it. It's not the greatest game, but it's not like this horrible, horrible thing. It's not Parappa. That's a terrible game. That deserves hate. Knack doesn't deserve that. I've never understood the Knack hate. And this is a game that I can definitely see being able to play with my daughter, getting into something like that, and just being a fun little quirky adventure that her and I can have together. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm all in on Act 2.
Oh, there you have it. So next up is Gravity Rush 2 trailer was shown with a little more information regarding the free DLC coming in March. And we'll focus entirely on the character Raven. So Gravity Rush 2 is not too much on my radar. Devin, are you excited on this one?
It looks interesting. I didn't play the original Gravity Rush because I don't own a Vita, sad to say. But it looks cool. It's something I definitely want to pick up and just get into. It just looks like a really fun game. So I'm excited for it. I'll definitely pick this one up.
So we know one person who is excited for this one. So Kyle, we'll let you take it away from here, sir.
Yeah, no, I'm really stoked about this game. I did play the original Gravity Rush on my Vita. I have not picked up the remaster on PS4 yet. And I usually don't do this, but I keep thinking, okay, Gravity Rush 2 is coming out. They probably want some people to play the first one. Seems like a really good fit for PS Plus.
It does.
Hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
And it just seems like a good fit, and it just hasn't happened. Or, hey, pre-order Gravity Rush 2 and get, Gravity Rush included, and they just haven't done it. And I kept thinking they would, but either way, I'm picking this up. I'm excited for the DLC. This is the DLC that was promised when they delayed it. They said, hey, you'll get the DLC for free, and this is what that DLC is going to be. And I really like the fact that they're saying, hey, Gravity Rush 2 is coming in January. Do Cap's journey then, and then in March, a couple months later, you'll have an opportunity to jump back in if you finished everything up. So I'm definitely down for this. Looking forward to this. I'm excited about Gravity Rush 2. On a side note, Kevin, you should take all of that stuff we said about Knack 2, and you should totally send it to Sony and just be like, hey, look, we like Knack 2. You should send us a review copy. Just saying.
That's a good point.
Just saying.
I'll cut out this part of the audio and send it to him. Just be like, hey, just so you know, this was said. We support you. We'll give it at least decent review.
But, right. We're not biased against it immediately.
No. We don't have an instant hatred for you. We will be open minded. So next up was the GT Sport trailer was shown. Once again, no hard release date. Just kind of said 2017, but this has been pushed back a few times. So I kind of thought there'd be a solid date. March 2017 or May 2017. Nada. So once again, this game still looks incredible. Not something I'll play. I'm pretty sure it's not something Kyle will play. Correct, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm not playing this.
Exactly. Devin, how about you?
I've got a sick fascination with the GT series. Ever since the first one, there's something about it that I just enjoy. But the time that it takes to actually get into the games will probably keep me from actually playing this one. Just because it takes so long to build up the garage and get all the cars and get all the licenses. So it just depends on whether or not they're doing that. But I mean, it's so gorgeous. How can you not want to just sit there and drive? But I'm pretty much just going to ignore this game until it actually has a release date because GT is always getting pushed back. Next thing we'll know, it'll become in 2018 and then it'll be 10 years later and we'll finally get it. So I'm just going to ignore it until it has an actual release date and it's a week away.
There you go. So Devin's predicting it's the next Last Guardian, so we shall see. The next two I'm going to lump together just for the sake of time, but I'm excited for all of this, and that is Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom got a trailer, also listed as releasing in 2017 with no hard date. And then this other one that I'm also excited for is Yakuza 6, and the original Yakuza got trailers to be announced for a Western release. Yakuza 6 will be in 2018, and the original Yakuza will be remastered for 2017. These are really cool games that we should have had in the West all along, but we were unfortunately not getting them. In my mind, they're more superior. I don't know. I probably get a lot of flack for saying they're more superior to GTA, but it's my personal preference over a GTA. I for one, loved Sleeping Dogs and stuff like that. And Yakuza follows more of that formula. So I'm excited to see that personally. And Ni no Kuni, I'm always down for a good JRPG. So both of them get 2 thumbs up from me. Kyle, how about you?
Yeah, I'm down with all of this. Ni no Kuni 2, I'm really excited about. I am kind of surprised by the 2017 release window. I thought this might be a 2018 game, but the game looked spectacular. The trailer looked gorgeous. The combat and everything that they showed was pretty great, so I'm definitely done with that. And I've only ever played a little bit of the Yakuza games, but the parts that I've played I've always loved. So I'm really excited that, we have Yakuza 0 coming out in January, and then having both Kiwami and 6 coming out, one later this summer and one the year after that. I'm really excited by the effort to get those games out over here, because like you, I think these games have a very strong and passionate fan base, and if more people were exposed to them, they may really enjoy them because they are fun games to play. So I'm down with all of this, and these are all 3 games I'm definitely keeping a close eye on.
How about you, Devin? Do you have your eyes on these at all?
Yakuza, probably. I've always heard good things about Yakuza, and it seems like a game that I can really get into. Ni no Kuni, I've heard nothing but excellent things, and I've got some people yelling at me to play the original Ni no Kuni, but it's just not something that I can divest that much time into. Just because RPGs, they suck me in, and I don't have time. I don't have that time. So it's one of those games I'll probably just have to stay away and just like watch some let's plays of it or whatnot. But the Yakuza game I'm definitely interested in, all 3 of them, all Yakuza 6, Kiwami, and also 0 I'm looking forward to.
For sure. So let's see what else we have on the list here. Oh geez, I'm going to butcher this name. Danganronpa?
Yes!
Danganronpa.
Okay, V3
Nailed it.
trailer is shown and it's officially coming to the West in 2017 on PS4, and surprisingly enough, will be hitting Vita. Also hitting Vita that's coming to the West is YS Origin. Got a trailer coming to the West February 21st on PS4 and Vita. And then Nier Automata gets a new trailer. Will also be coming in March 2017 in the West. So that's an early, triple threat right there, kind of hitting us at the early 2017 of some pretty cool and unique titles down the line. So not sure if any of them are on my list per se right now, but I am watching these with some excitement there. So Devin, how about you?
Nier looks cool. Danganronpa, I will not be getting into an ease neither. They're just not games that are in my wheelhouse at all. But Nier looks cool, so I might check that one out.
And what about you, Kyle? I think these are probably more up your alley, correct?
Yeah, weird Kyle. These are totally me games. Danganronpa. I'm excited about Danganronpa. I think pretty much most people assumed it was coming to the West in 2017. So and that's because that's when it's releasing in Japan, and sometimes it's coming here as well. So it wouldn't surprise me to see that in the summer because a remaster of 1 and 2 are coming to PS4 in March, I believe, because both the first and second one are only on Vita right now. So they're really cool games. They're very Japanese. They're definitely unique games that are not for everyone. They're the storybook style games as you're kind of walking through a story. So I enjoyed the first 2. Definitely looking forward to the third one. Ys Origin is not a game that the Ys series of games is not something I've ever gotten into. It does have a very passionate fan base that's not very big, but they really love it. But seeing that coming out to the West is really exciting. And Nier, I'm 100% in on. My only question about that is whether or not I will have Horizon done in time to pick that guy up day one. But I am definitely going to be picking up Nier when it is out.
All right. So next up, let's see. Dreadnought, console exclusive to PS4, has a trailer out as well. Beta to come in early 2017. Pyro gets a brief trailer, still looking to release in 2017, although still not showing too much on this one. As excited I am for that one, we're not seeing a whole heck of a lot. And then also Vane got a trailer, kind of a platformer with a funky art style, also slated to release in 2017. Sony just loves saying 2017, but not giving any sort of direction there. But these 3 titles I think are a little more up my alley than the last 3 we brought up. But once again, they haven't given us too much to go on. But Pyre still looks very cool for me. At least that one's definitely on my watch list. I think these are also pretty much in Kyle's wheelhouse as well.
Dreadnought maybe. I mean, I think it looks cool. Big, huge spaceships fighting in space. Like, that seems pretty awesome. But that one of the 3 is probably the one I'm least interested in. Pyre is from Supergiant, and I love everything that they do. Bastion is one of my all-time favorite games, and Transistor was excellent, so I'm 100% in on that whenever that releases. I think they had said, or had originally kind of, I feel like May has been floated around, so maybe that will be then. And then Vane I had never heard of before, but looks kind of cool.
It does.
You're a bird and doing your thing, and yeah, I don't know. I think that looks like a cool little game. I'm definitely going to keep my eye on that one.
Fair enough. Devin, anything here pique your interest at all?
Yeah, actually, Dreadnought looks pretty cool, and Pyre definitely all 100% in on. Supergiant, they make excellent games. That's actually on the floor. That's another one that I'm trying to get to tomorrow because the lines, man. But that's one I definitely am going to try to check out tomorrow. And Dreadnought looks cool. Vane, I'd have to look into that a little bit more. It didn't do anything for me. It didn't grab me. Mm-hmm. But Pyre and Dreadnought, absolutely.
Sure thing. So the next one is the title I've been waiting for a little bit. Was What
Yep.
Remains of Edith Finch gets a trailer and a spring 2017 release. The weird thing, Sony is no longer publishing it though, so that's a little odd. A new publisher stepped in to complete the game, if you will. But I'm excited for this one. If you follow my my antics to what I like to play, then you'd probably have that as a given. Maybe I can convince Kyle to play this one as well.
Oh yeah, I'm totally in on this
right.
one. I'm looking forward to it. I do think it is weird that Sony's not publishing it anymore, and I don't know now if it's a console exclusive anymore.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. The company that's publishing it now is actually, I can't remember the name of it, but they're actually a movie studio that is opening a games division. So it's kind of interesting. So I don't know. That wasn't really talked about at all, but I feel like this game should have been out like 4 times already. But I'm still totally down with it. We'll definitely play it when it comes out.
Yeah, it looks like who's publishing now? The game we published by Annapurna Interactive, a new branch of Annapurna Pictures. Not familiar with them at all, but you're right. It's a new publishing division from a movie studio. So fair enough. Devin, what about you? It's interest you at all, or are you leaving this up to the crazy people like Kyle and myself?
It was one of those. I was like, "What is this game?" What? Huh? And then it just kind of went away, and then it's back again. And I'm just like, "What does remain of Edith Finch?" Like, what? Huh? But I might look into it. I might check it out. Not quite something that I'm totally interested in, but I'll definitely give it a look see.
There you go. You can listen to the review cast Kyle and I will probably do on this one as well.
Absolutely.
There you go. So a couple other things of note here. Absolver got a brief trailer. It's hitting PS4 first with some exclusive content. How Smart Game being shown Nex Machina. The game was formerly known as the Jarvis Project for you playing along at home. It's been teased for a while. It's in conjunction with Eugene Jarvis of Smash TV, Defender, Robotron, etc., etc. Top-down shooter. Surprise, surprise. But yeah, it says it is a PS4 exclusive still, so it looks pretty cool. Then they followed it up with a little bit of an indie sizzle reel, kind of highlighting a bunch of different indie games to come up. Not too much to note on that. They didn't really dive into the stuff on the indie sizzle reel, but it looked cool as always, as they like to do. So for me, I don't think either Absolver or Nex Machina does anything for me personally, but it's good to see Eugene Jarvis back in action again, though. I was a big fan of Smash TV, Defender back in the day, so who knows? We'll see. Maybe it'll be a PS Plus, and then I'll pick it up then at that point. But what about you, Devin? Either of these titles interest you at all?
Actually, yeah, they both did. They were both games that I've been looking at for a while. I love Housemarque. I love their top-down shooters. I mean, Smash TV. Oh man, I love that game. Jeez, that was a fun one way back in the day. I enjoyed the heck out of that, and I mean, I'll pretty much play anything that Housemarque puts out. Absolver also always looked interesting. So those are games I'm definitely gonna have on my radar and look to play when they come out for sure.
And Kyle, either of these tickle your fancy?
Not so much Absolver, but I am 100% down with everything Housemarque makes. This game looks spectacular. I think a lot of folks, the whole Jarvis project has been floating around for a while, and there's been a lot of YouTube videos about it. But I think folks thought that if Housemarque was going to be at PSX, that we'd be seeing Matterfall. And
that's what I was hoping.
Yeah, and there's still nothing about that. So there's no word on that game yet. So it looks like Nex Machina is going to be the next one we get from Housemarque, which is totally fine. I thought the game looked awesome. I am 100% in whenever that game comes out.
Fair enough. So next two things to point. Surgeon Simulator. If you watch any sort of YouTube videos, this game is completely preposterous. But I will say, pretty ingenious bringing it to PSVR, though. So I think that'd be a lot of fun to play and watch. I don't think it would be a good game, once again, by any means, but I think it'd be a lot of fun. Then the other thing they announced right after Lara Croft Go is shown. It is available now on PS4. Vita coming down the line as well. So another great Go title. People seem to love them. I have not played them personally, but I know Kyle has. So Kyle, what are your thoughts being our PSVR, one of our PSVR guys, and about Lara Croft Go?
I'm definitely getting Surgeon Simulator. If for nothing else, it looks absolutely ridiculous. And VR seems the perfect place to play that game.
Definitely.
And then I'll pick up Lara Croft Go. I played Hitman Go. I actually reviewed it for the site. So I will get Lara Croft Go. I just have way too much. I mean, it's cool that it's available now. I just have way too much on my plate right now to pick it up today. But when I have a slower time, or when, if it's anything lengthwise like Hitman, if I have a weekend where I'm not doing a lot, I may pick that up to polish that one off, because I do enjoy that style of game.
I was going to say, you did like Hitman Go, correct?
Yeah, I enjoyed my time with it for sure.
That's what I thought. So, Devin, either of these seem fun to you or something you plan on picking up?
I want to play a Surgeon Simulator so bad. I'm looking for that one on the floor. I definitely want to check that out because it's just nonsense. So I want to play that. The Go games, I've never actually played any of the Go games. I think the Vita version actually is also on the store right now. But I've never played any of the Go games. I hear that they're excellent. I might check this one out because I just love Lara Croft. I love Tomb Raider. So this may be something that I'll jump into just as something to play on just like quick little 10, 15, 20 minutes here and there.
So the next title they mentioned, this one seems kind of unique, and I predict this one being a PS Plus title. Is Mother Russia Bleeds is announced for PS4, and it very much looks like Streets of Rage from back in the day.
Yes.
So which isn't a bad thing by any means. So it just doesn't seem like your typical game you see being released new in 2016, 2017, but it looks pretty cool. It's available right now, but like I said, I think this one would be one that would drop on PS Plus in my mind. So I would definitely play it then. I'm not sure what it's retailing for currently, but it does seem fun. I would definitely play the heck out of it. Do you know, actually, Devin, since you were there, did they mention if it was going to be multiplayer at all, or is it?
You know what? I didn't see anything about it being multiplayer. It's on the floor. Actually, you know what it is? It's 1 to 4 players. It's very much like a Streets of Rage game. It's on the floor. You actually can get it free on the floor, so I'm going to get that and play the bejesus out of it, because Streets of Rage is actually one of my favorite old school games. It's actually on the store now. It's $14.99. I'm all about it. I can't wait to jump into this one because I love these type of games.
Yeah, it does look a lot of fun. Let us know if you find out, because I don't think they mentioned it at all, if it supports online multiplayer, because I know it looks like you can do the 4 people in like couch co-op style, but if you can do online, then that's a lot cooler in my mind, absolutely. At least. Kyle, what'd you think on this one?
Yeah, I'm in for it. I think that this was one of the games announced by Devolver at Sony's E3 2015 press conference. And then when E3 2016 rolled around, everyone was like, "Where in the heck? What happened to these games?" So this was one of those 3. So there's still supposed to be 2 more. But yeah, I'm excited about it. I would actually probably download it today if I didn't have so much else I was playing right now. But I'm excited about it. I was excited and looking forward to it from the day it was announced. So at some point, I will find out why Mother Russia Bleeds.
Probably because you hit him with toilets.
Probably true.
I've seen a lot of that. You beat people with toilets. It's amazing. But anyway. So the next couple titles we'll kind of blow through these for the sake of time here, and none of these I don't think are anything super urgent to bring up. Garu, Mark of the Wolves is announced. It's available right now on PS4 and PS Vita as well. This one is probably the biggest WTF moment out of PSX altogether. The trailer for Windjammers is shown. So Windjammers is a game that was Neo Geo, I believe. And it's like 20 years old as well. It's a Frisbee game, boys and girls, if you haven't been playing along at home. And for some reason, they feel the need to bring it to PS4 and Vita. Why? I have no idea. This one, I hope, is not going to be a PS Plus title, because I will be angry if it is. Next up was a PSVR exclusive Starblood Arena. This looked pretty cool, slated for a spring 2017 release. Then they followed it up with a PSVR sizzle reel, which, once again, it's very hard to portray these PSVR games in these trailers and these reels, because it doesn't really project to you what it would be like to play it. So unfortunately, it doesn't do a lot for me. Kyle, who can probably picture a little bit better in his head, having more experience with the PSVR, is any of this exciting to you as far as the PSVR stuff? And then Windjammers, if you say you're excited for that, I don't know if we could be friends anymore, but take it away, sir.
Well, the funny thing about that is I believe Seth was pretty stoked about Windjammers.
Oh,
so you should follow up with him. So,
we'll talk later.
I don't know if it was sarcastic or not, but he was really stoked about it. But as far as PSVR goes, Starblood Arena looked cool. I was really worried when they first were showing it, because it talked a lot about multiplayer.
Yeah.
And as anyone knows, multiplayer games on PSVR can be very challenging to find. Like with Eagle Flight, it can be almost impossible sometimes to find games and multiplayer for that. So that has me a little bit worried, but apparently there is a single player component to it as well, because I thought the game looked pretty cool. So yeah, I'm excited about that. And the sizzle reel stuff, I didn't actually recognize everything in there. And I have not had a chance to go down and read a website who broke down what all those games were. But I do like the fact that, in some ways I expected VR to be a bigger part of the conference than it was. So that's a little worrying that they really only talked about one game basically on stage for it. But, they did talk about how there are multiple games in development still, and they're still working on a lot of stuff. So I'm hopeful still that they're going to continue to push it, because I'm really enjoying my time with it. And, I'm trying to, for better or worse, I'm trying to buy as many things as I can to show support and encourage them to continue doing things. Luckily, most of the games are, $10, $20, so it's not too bad. But
that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely check out Starblood Arena when it comes out. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that.
All right, Devin, how about you?
Okay, so Windjammers, like you said, WTF. I don't even know what to make of that. It's a frisbee game and it looks like the 80s. I'm confused. I don't even know what. I went over to their booth just to see what it was, and I'm still confused as to why this is a thing. But whatever. What I will say about PSVR, it's all over the floor. Like, there are PSVR games everywhere. Anything that can be done in VR is done. I actually had my first taste of PSVR with Valkyrie, which gave me a little bit of motion sickness, but was still fun, so I just pushed through it. I was terrible at it, but it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It just makes me really want to get a VR headset with the Pro, because everything is running on the Pro. Like, literally, if it has any capabilities or enhancements from the Pro, it's on the Pro. So all the VR stuff on the floor, they're all running off the Pro, and everything has been smooth. I mean, I got a little bit of, like I said, the motion sickness from Valkyrie, but I was able to just power through it and really enjoyed it. The Starblood Arena, I mean, if I get a PSVR, I probably pick that up. Like you said, I know, like, trying to get the multiplayer stuff is kind of difficult in VR, but the idea of it is really exciting. Like, I want to play Rigs tomorrow just because I feel like it's awesome. You're in a giant mech in VR. Why not? So I'm excited for VR, and the fact that it's just all over the floor is promising, even though they don't seem to want to speak about it. Like, they don't give us sales numbers. They're not selling how well it's selling. We don't know. Everybody seems to be enjoying it that has one, but we don't know how well it's doing. But we know there's tons of stuff in development for it, so that's promising. Definitely. I think with VR, they're playing the long game with it. Yeah. I don't think it's something that they're looking to be like this heavy hitter right now. But it's here to stay. I don't think it's going anywhere. I think they're definitely playing the long game with VR, and that goes the same for like the Oculus and the Vive. I think they're all just playing this long VR game, and I think we're going to see several iterations over time. But I don't think it's going anywhere.
Yeah, I don't think it's going anywhere either. And I agree with you. It's definitely gonna be a long game. My only concern, and this is coming from a Nintendo fan here, that developers will only stick around for so long, and then it may become a thing where it's Sony publishing games for PSVR and having a hard time drumming up some third-party support. So we'll see, because like you said, if it's not profitable, as like Kyle said, he's trying to buy everything he can to keep the money flowing, if you will, for them there. But if they don't see a quick turnaround, then developers will stop being able to pull out, and all you have is like indie titles, which may or may not be a bad thing depending on what you get. Or it'll be, first-party developed games, which will probably be pretty solid, but it's just a matter of getting that audience there and keeping them around and keeping them with things to play with. So that'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But I agree with you. It's not going anywhere, I don't think. Next up is a game which technically has been in development longer than The Last Guardian, and that is Neo. Game was first being developed in 2004 by Team Ninja, who's known for Ninja Gaiden, Dead or Alive. What else do they do? Hyrule Warrior Legends is a great example of what they've done recently. But this game is finally coming out. It's dropping on February 9th as of right now. I don't think there'll be any delays at this point. Pretty Dark Soul-esque type game from them. So not in my wheelhouse by any means. It does look great. And I mean, after all this time, it probably should. But I mean, this game also doesn't come with its own bruises and bumps along the way. They released betas and alphas back in 2016, and they gauged public reaction and went back and made more adjustments. So this game seems to be, bounced back and forth. So what it actually comes out as may be different than what people experience in the beta. So it's kind of a little weird. I don't know if this is really going to pay off for them. I think this is going to be like a Last Guardian where it might come out and be okay, but it's not going to change the game, if you will, at least for me. Devin, is this your style of game? You're a Dark Souls kind of guy, or?
So I am not a Dark Souls kind of guy, but this game doesn't hit me as Dark Souls. What it actually reminds me of, and this is after seeing it on the seeing it on the floor, and one of my boys playing it. It's like it reminds us of Onimusha.
Okay.
And we were just talking about how like I want another Onimusha game. So I am all in on this. I am actually really excited for this to come out because I loved Onimusha and I would love to see that type of game make a comeback. And that's what Neo looked and felt a lot like when we saw it on the floor today. So I'm all in and I'm really excited for this. It has been in development forever. Hopefully with the fact that Final Fantasy 15 was in development forever and is getting very, very high praise. The Last Guardian looks to be at least B grade at worst, and so hopefully this can follow suit and also be just another one of those long gestating games that comes out and just is absolutely great. So I'm looking forward to it and I'm really excited for it.
Excellent. All right, Kyle, how about you then?
So I played the alpha for it back in May. I did not play the beta at all in August or whatever it was, but when I played the alpha, I sucked at this game. Oh Lord, was I bad at it. I was looking all over. I'm like, do they have baby mode where I can just I've never been so bad at a game in my life. I played Bloodborne, enjoyed Bloodborne, thought it was a little bit challenging, but there was something about Neo that I could just not wrap my head around. Now, apparently, I was not the only person who just absolutely, I think the most people I ever killed was 4. And then I just died every time because as soon as there was 2 people, I couldn't win. I was like, I'm just done. I can't beat 2 people. So apparently they did some work on it, and the beta that happened a little later, there were some things were a bit more accessible to people. But critically, from those who have played it, most of the praise has been pretty high for it. And yeah, I think a lot of people have given the reference to Onimusha when playing this. I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely interested in it. I just got absolutely destroyed when I played it for the first time, so I just don't know if I can commit to playing a game that I might never get past a quarter of the first stage. I just don't know if I can commit to that. So we'll see. I'm going to keep an eye on it. It's definitely on the list. It just depends on whether or not I feel I can actually be successful while playing it.
All right, fair enough then. So we're winding down. Only a couple more things to talk about as far as announcements. Next one, ironically enough, for a sports game, has me pretty excited. MLB The Show was shown. Once again, no surprise that would be coming out as an annual thing. But here's what I like about it. So first off, drops March 28th, just in time for baseball season. And it has a retro mode. Where you might be thinking, what's retro mode? It looks like if you played Super Bases Loaded back in the day or anything like that. I am more excited to play a baseball game that's like it used to be than what it has become nowadays. So this might actually get me to pick it up now because I'm smart. It's a sports game. The price will drop rapidly within a couple months. So I'll pick it up down the line. But I'm very excited to see this retro mode in action. And I will probably pick it up just to play it only in retro mode only. But that's just me. Kyle, how about you? I know you're not a big fan of the sports either.
When I was a young lad, I played a lot of baseball. I played baseball for many, many years. I blew my arm out and then, kind of just shut down on baseball and all of that good stuff for a while. But every other year or so, I go back and pick up a copy of the show and just play it for 3, 4, 5 months pretty much straight and kind of relive my quote-unquote relive my glory days. So I will probably pick it up. It's been a couple years since I've played one. The game is always solid. I mean, it looks good. It plays well. I think for some people it's gotten a little too simmy, which I can totally understand. But having that retro mode in there, I think, is a nice little break. So if you are like, okay, kind of done with the sim thing, let's just go, have some games where I win, 24-2. Let's go ahead and go do that. So I actually will probably pick this up. It's like I said, it's been a couple of years. So I think I might jump back into this one.
Cool. And Devin, you sounded excited when I started talking about retro mode. What do you think?
Oh, the retro mode looks so cool. The way they do the MLB, the show booth at PSX every year, it's like a bar kind of. They have like a whole bar lounge set up where they've got a bunch of big screens like in the middle section where you can play, and you can actually also go up to the bar and play the game, and they have it on like the screens behind where like all the beer and stuff is at, and that's where they have the retro mode. And did it take me back, man. It still looks incredible. So it doesn't look retro. It looks like just like, a remaster, but even better. And I loved like the old school games, like Triple Play '96. Like that was my jam. Like I loved that baseball game. You can't get me to play MLB The Show. I can't do the same thing. I can't do it. But the old school, a little bit more arcadey baseball games are just a ton of fun. So I'm definitely looking forward to the retro mode version of the game. So like you, I'd probably wait for it to go on sale and pick it up because I don't want to pay $60 for a game that I'm only going to pay like a small portion of that I'm going to play. So, I'm all in on the retro mode. I love the idea of that. I love 90s, like the old school 90s baseball game. Like you said, a Super Bases Loaded, Ken Griffey baseball, and then Triple Play '96. Like that was just my jam. So I'm looking forward to getting to that with some friends. And hopefully there's an online component. We can just play some baseball.
Exactly. I mean, Ken Griffey Jr. is the cover man of this, isn't he?
Yep, sure is.
So
and it looks great.
It just yells 90s right there, so it's all good.
Mm-hmm.
So next up is a very much anticipated title for myself, and I think you guys are both in the same boat with me here, and that was Horizon Zero Dawn was shown once again. But here's the good news. Before we get into the trailer and how great it looked, and I'm just so excited for this game, it's still slated for February 28th, so it means it probably won't be delayed. Yay! Hopefully. It is Sony, though. You never know. But I'm feeling good that we've seen the last of delays on this one. So I'm very excited. It's just going to be so close to the launch of the Switch. I don't know if it's going to be a day one purchase for me, but I will 100% be buying this game in 2017. No doubts about it. Kyle, is this a day one purchase for you as well?
Yep. It's actually pre-ordered.
There you go.
I don't pre-order games very often, but I have the collector's edition of this pre-ordered. So it was funny, or I shouldn't say funny. It was interesting because Coach Mo had mentioned how they had talked about it as the next blockbuster franchise, and how he didn't think that was a good idea. And I kind of agree with him in the sense of that's putting a pretty big target on Horizon. It's putting a lot of pressure on them. But unlike games like The Order or No Man's Sky, the people who have played this game so far have really positive things to say about it. There has not been from anybody who's had a hands-on, I have not heard a negative or a super negative concern or worry about it. So I think that Sony's very confident. I think that this really could be, if they treat it right, one of their next big things that we're going to see, for years and years to come.
Yep.
So I am 100% excited about this game. If there's a game that maybe my expectations are too high, it might be this game.
True.
I'm trying to keep myself a little bit in check there. But I think the setting is awesome. I think the lore and kind of how they're approaching things seem very, very interesting. I am really looking forward to playing this game. Definitely going to be day one. And it will be a game that I will not play anything else from the time I get it until I finish it. So I'm really looking forward to this guy.
For sure. Devin, you feel the same way as us?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
this is the game that I'm getting in line for first tomorrow. The line was probably about a 2.5 to 3 hour wait. They showed it running on the Pro on a 4K screen. Oh my God. Like it is breathtakingly gorgeous. Like it looked absolutely incredible. Like this is what you buy a Pro for. Like it just blew my mind. Just the vibrancy of the colors when it's in with the HDR, the draw distance, it just looked ridiculous. I was all in on this as soon as they announced it. Like it just looked like something different. I love these type of third person action type games. They're my cream of my crop. They're my favorite thing to do. So I'm all in. I cannot wait for this. This will definitely be a day one purchase. I'm getting it digitally so I can play it at 9 p.m. Because I live on the West Coast.
Yeah, you West Coast folks.
So I cannot wait, and like I said, this will be the first thing that I actually get in line to play tomorrow because I can't wait.
Well, good luck, sir. You'll have to let us know some hands-on expressions. So, as we said earlier, Naughty Dog started the conference. Naughty Dog ended the conference with a title I think everybody was anticipating, hoping, wishing, longing for to be announced at E3, but it wasn't. But it was shown at the end of this conference. And instead of me talking about it, instead of Kyle talking about it, Devin, why don't you tell us the atmosphere in that room and what you saw when Naughty Dog unveiled the final title for PSX?
So you get the forest, you get the pictures, and it's just like this eerie silence. Like everybody's like, no, they're not doing it. This can't be it. No, are they doing it really? And then they pan out and you see the Firefly logo. It went nuts. Like the place just erupted. Everybody lost their minds because this is what we were looking for. This is what we were expecting. We were waiting for it. They're like, are they going to announce The Last of Us 2? Part 2, I should say. The feeling in the room was just like mixed with just joy and just excitement and also wonder because they said this is very, very, very early production.
Yeah.
So we don't know how far off this game is. And in the panel that they had for it, Neil Druckmann was like, yeah, we kind of learned not to give you guys dates until we know that for sure we're going to be able to hit them. So we're just going to say, yeah, it's coming in the future. So who knows? That could be 2018. That could be 2019. We don't know. But just a feeling of excitement and just anticipation surrounding this particular title is through the roof. Like, just the panel was packed. It was on everybody's lips. It's what everybody was talking about walking in. Or should I say walking out from the actual press conference. It's palpable. Like, this is what everybody's looking forward to. This is what just blows the roof off of everything. The fact that they ended with this instead of beginning with it was, I think, perfect. You start with the Uncharted, and then you end with The Last of Us Part 2. The fact that it's I think it's 5 years after the end of the first one, and you get this kind of this Ellie who's been through some stuff. Just sets this tone. You're like, oh man, I can't wait to get back into this world and see what's changed and see how she's changed and see how Joel has changed and to see where this is going. In the panel, they talked about how the first game was really about love. It was about what the love and the bond that built between these two characters. And this one is taking that and turning it on a dark side. It's about hate. You see how Ellie said that she will kill every one of them. So there is something kind of sinister and dark about this game, which I love. I love to be able to explore that part and see where they go with that. I cannot wait. I'm going to try to forget it's even been announced because who knows when it's coming. But everybody is talking about this game. Everybody is talking about Part 2.
I am so excited for this. I mean, the first one is easily in my top 3 games of all time, probably. So I'm so excited for this, and I'm also nervous for this because it's got a lot to live up to, but I'm confident out of any studio that Naughty Dog can deliver on this one, so I'm excited. I'm probably predicting, though, it's probably a 2018 release. I don't think it'll stretch out to 2019 per se, but hoping for a 2018 release there. But I'm very, very excited. Kyle, I think it goes without saying that you're excited, but any thoughts on what you saw?
Well, I think from an overall standpoint, I think the fact that Sony took PSX and said, okay, we are going to take our most coveted studio and we are going to let them open the show. And by the way they made it sound, at their request, close the show. We're not going to save this for E3, which would have probably been the headline of E3 and potentially drown out anything else that was happening. Probably some of the few things they could do with what to compete whatever Scorpio is going to be talking about, with Microsoft next year. They said, no, we can do this at PSX. That to me, I think shows a shift or an understanding now to Sony how important this conference is to them.
Yeah.
Because they took the studio that does basically their 2 biggest franchises and says, you're going to show both of your stuff for both these franchises at this conference on this day. Done. So I think that's one thing. I think the other thing that struck me is as they were panning back through the forest and they got to the trees and, you saw the little markings on the one tree and I was like, maybe this could be what I think it is. And then you pan back and see the Firefly logo. I was like, okay. My first thought right away was is our Ellie and Joel going to be in this?
Yeah, right.
Because there's been a lot of debate about that. And when you see Ellie starting to play the guitar, and I thought this was really weird. I got a little emotional actually, because
Absolutely.
I was like, the one thing that I in some ways covet about what Naughty Dog does is they make me care like about characters better than any other studio does. And I like having just come and played the last Uncharted and been all stoked on Uncharted and really caring about those characters. And I was having the conversation when we do the review cast or the PlayStation Game of the Year cast that you'll hear in the future about me being really sad that like I might never get to play as Nathan Drake again. I hadn't really thought about Joe and Ellie in a while, and seeing her and then seeing him at the end, I was like, man, I forgot how much I care about these characters too. So it was actually just a very moving trailer for me. I was really surprised that I felt like I reacted the way that I did. My wife was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm good." I don't know why. I'm just kind of like emotional about this, and I don't really know why that I am. And I didn't expect that. If somebody would have told me, "Oh, when they announced The Last of Us Part 2, you're gonna get a little emotional about it," I'd been like, "Yeah, whatever, sure." But it was pretty moving, and I thought it was an excellent trailer, as they always do. It was good. I think the thing that was surprising is in the panel later, they talked about how they started the mocap for this a year and a half ago.
Right.
So maybe it's not as far away as we think, but then, I mean, Neil did say, he's like, yeah, we had this other game we had to get done. So I don't know if they had tried to, because I know they were split in two teams for a while.
Right.
So I don't know if that was like while they were split as two teams and then they all had to come back together again as one to finish up Uncharted 4. So maybe this did get pushed to the side for a while. So, but I mean, so maybe 2018 isn't unreasonable. It sounds like obviously there's been some work done on it, but yeah, I really would not have expected that they would have ended PSX with this game. I especially if it's going to be a 2018 game, it seems like a slam dunk they would have done this at E3. But I think to Sony, just shows how much they care about this show. And I think it really is becoming a pillar for them moving forward. I think really E3 and PSX are going to be their two big shows of the year now.
Right. I mean,
Absolutely.
We've talked a lot of times too about how E3 may be going by the wayside, and more and more people pulling out of it. I mean, this could be Sony just showing like, hey, we're fine just without it too. So I'd love to see E3 continue, but in the event that it doesn't, we know Sony is prepared to be able to deliver this experience and have enough news and content to drive and get people excited, as we've waxed on for almost a little over an hour and a half now about. So before we move on and close the show and let you all go off into this sweet darkness, Devin, why don't you let us know anything else you have of note from PSX, your experiences there, what you've gotten your hands on and played already, and what you saw. What are people talking about, excited about? Take it away, sir. The floor is yours. You're our on-the-field reporter this evening.
Okay, so the floor is just, it's packed. There are people everywhere. This is like the PlayStation crowd. Everybody there is like all about PlayStation. You can see it from the cosplay, from all of the PlayStation shirts to the beanies. Just, this is, if you are a PlayStation fan, this is where you should be. This is the show that you want to go to. Like you were saying, like Sony can just do this and not have to do a bunch of stuff at E3. They don't have to worry about that because they have PSX, and this is where they can showcase what the PlayStation is all about. We don't have to wait for E3 to see The Last of Us Part 2 being announced. As far as like what I've played and what people are playing, like a little bit of everything. I mean, like I said, you've got VR everywhere. Like Resident Evil in VR, like you have to get a ticket for, so we have our tickets to see that tomorrow. Valkyrie, I played that. It was great. My boy played Neo, and like you said, that had that Onimusha feel. I cannot wait to play Horizon tomorrow. We played GT Sport because that was like one of the lines that wasn't incredibly long, and that game just feels. You actually get to sit and play in one of the cars with the cockpits, and that was just a lot of fun. Game looks great, feels great, sounds great. There are so many indie games on the floor, from like your Devolver Digitals, your Supergiant games, like that stuff is everywhere, and those places are just as packed as all the AAA titles. Like they made this big, like the big joke about it being the Indie Station 4 or whatnot, but you know what? That's fine. I will take that and be totally okay with it, because the indies that we have on our system are amazing. They are games that people are excited to play. They are games that are great. There is just so much to do and so much to see. The Marvel vs. Capcom stuff is huge. The Street Fighter just area is big because we've got the Capcom Cup here. Surprisingly enough, you actually also have a huge Shooter Bro like conglomerate because they have all the Call of Duty stuff. They have the Call of Duty finals and everything here. So you have a huge conglomerate of those of that type of crowd here as well, which is something you wouldn't normally see for Sony. So it's awesome to see that, and there's just so many things. Like every genre is represented. We have all of the JRPGs, we've got the shooters, we've got the action adventure, we've got all the retro stuff. Like the Crash Bandicoot booth was packed. That was one of the longest lines because people love that character. Like he is synonymous with PlayStation. When you think about PlayStation in its beginnings, you think about Crash Bandicoot. All we need now is to get Jack and Daxter back, and we'd be set. So it's just really, really exciting to see all of that and to be able to get hands-on time with a lot of these games. It's just been surreal, and it's been an awesome experience to be here. And I can't wait to do this again next year because I think this is a show that they're gonna do until they can't do it anymore. I remember going to the very, very first one and it being much smaller than what it is now, but just the feeling and the excitement you got. I remember listening to Colin and Greg talk about how these are their people, the PlayStation people, and you really got that get that feeling coming to PSX. You get people who are wearing the shirt from the first show. You get people who are wearing the shirt from last year's show. So you get to see this community of PlayStation gamers that really just embrace what PlayStation is all about. So it's just really exciting to be able to see all of these games from little budget indie all the way to AAA games. It's a blast, and I'm having a ball. I'm in my element, and I love it.
Okay, Devin, I have a couple questions for you. First
Shoot.
question: I live in Iowa, so I obviously live in the middle of the country. If I wanted to go to PSX, based on where it's been historically, I'd have to take probably a couple days off of work. I'd have to pay for a flight. I'd have to pay for a hotel. I'd have to do all that. Now, obviously, I love playing PlayStation, but for me, that's like, hey, on the quote-unquote good side, that's games I can't play or the VR unit I wouldn't have now that I bought instead. Like, is it, in your mind, is it worth it to take away money from gaming, take away money from those other things, to go to PSX to have that experience?
To be perfectly honest with you, I would probably say yes. If you are a fan of going to cons and you are a PlayStation fan, this is the one that I would say you should absolutely, if you can make it happen, make it happen. So it's the place to be.
So my other question then for you is going to be, if you were in charge of PSX, what would you change for next year? Like, it's clear you're having a fantastic time, but what are those things that you're like, man, this would be cool if they could do XYZ?
It just, honestly, the biggest thing, it needs to be bigger so they can actually have not as long lines. Like the lines are pretty long. That's my only real complaint about it, is that the lines are just insane. I don't think they realized how big it was going to be this year being in LA. I don't think they realized how large it was going to be, because like when they were queuing up the line just to get into the keynote, that line was like a BlizzCon line. I remember coming to the Anaheim Convention Center for BlizzCon when they announced Cataclysm, and that line went all the way like around the entire convention center back into like the back parking lot of some place across the street. The line for PSX was like that this time, and after going to the first one, it wasn't anywhere near that. So I don't think they expected it to be as big as it was. So I think they just need to expand. That would be the one thing. That way people can actually not have to wait in line for 2 hours, when I keep wanting to say the sales floor. When the floor is open, even though it's open from 10 to 10, when you're spending 2 hours in each line, you're just not able to see as much stuff as you want to see. So that would be the one thing that I would say they definitely need to expand it. They also need to expand out the keynote to be able to be shown in more than one room. So like this time they had the keynote just in the one room, and they had bleachers and they had all these seats, but there were still a ton of people who were basically watching from the outside on one of the big screens. So they need to actually just add another floor or add another hall, which they definitely can do, because the Anaheim Convention Center actually has 2 floors, but they're only using the bottom floor. I think this convention has gotten big enough to the point where it demands 2 floors. So that would be the one thing that I would change going into it next year.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thank you.
Cool. So before we wrap up the show, then let's get some final thoughts here on what we thought of the conference as a whole. So let's start with Kyle first.
So overall, I was really pleased with it. I think, I'm trying to be aware of my echo chamber, but most of the feedback I have heard and read and seen has been positive as well. I think this conference had just about something for everyone, no matter what style of game you like to play. I mean, I think there was something that hopefully one or two things that you could latch onto, and I think this is also an excellent example of why many people who like Sony is that yes, they have some really cool AAA awesome games, but they also have a lot of, quirky, unique indie style games that, like, no matter what you like, Sony is probably going to have something for you, and that's why they have like the Tales of series and Ys and all those things that you're not going to necessarily find everywhere else, because it's going to be a very specific group of people that like that, but Sony is still going to try to meet the needs of those people. So I think overall it was a really excellent conference. I think that it shows, like I said, by them and ending with The Last of Us Part 2, I think it really shows how invested they are in this conference moving forward. I think the vast majority of the games that they showed, were 2017 games. So I think we have a really clear picture of things that we'll probably be playing next year. I know there was some pushback because there was very, very few specific dates given, which I can understand. But if you're Sony, you also haven't hit a specific date very well at all lately. So it can be hard to give that specific date. And I think also, the gaming industry has shown that you maybe don't need to give specific dates quite as early as you used to. So people are still really excited for Mass Effect Andromeda that's coming out, but that game was revealed by basically them being like, hey, we're working on this thing. And people are still really excited about that game. And that game doesn't have a specific date yet either, but nobody's really complaining about that. So I do find, like I said, I think obviously that might have been helpful, but the couple people who have mentioned that maybe the show wasn't super great, I guess I don't understand. Like, I just don't totally get it. Maybe there wasn't something there for them, or something that they wanted, or they wanted more God of Wars and Spider-Mans and things like that. But we've seen those already. We've seen those trailers, we've seen those things. So I thought this was a really good highlight of some of those really big AAA things we know about, and then those other titles that they're looking to kind of fill the year in with next year. So overall, I thought it was a really solid show. Between E3 and PSX, this was a really good year of shows for them, if you kind of ignore that PS4 Pro reveal press conference thing. And honestly, in a lot of ways, I think it was a nice way to end the year for them. They had a kind of a rough September, Sony did, and I think that this has been a good way to end the year. There were a few things that didn't happen that I think some people would have liked, PSN name changes, maybe some revisions and things like that to PS Plus, but those things could still happen, and those things could happen easily in a blog post or something like that. So, if you look at what PSX is meant to be, a show for fans, for the fans to know and see things that they like and see things they want to connect to, like, yeah, hearing sales numbers is cool, but that, as a fan, that doesn't really change anything for me, but what are the things that I can play and what are the things I can do? And overall, I think they did that really, really well.
I agree. For me, there was a lot of surprises, and I wasn't quite expecting to be surprised. And I know it's in the definition of the word surprise, but after E3 and with the industry we're all dealing with here at this point, it's very hard to get things out without being leaked ahead of time. And the fact that there was a lot of stuff here we hadn't heard about or expected to see or expected to have announced or to have trailers or even years of it'll be released some point in this year. There's a lot of cool stuff, and bravo to them. And like you said, it shows how serious Sony's taking this by having so many blockbuster announcements and to begin and end on such high notes with Naughty Dog, with Uncharted and The Last of Us Part 2. I mean, it's completely huge. So yeah, I mean, I think even if you're taking the fanboy out of this experience, if you're a gamer at all, you had to be excited about some of this. Whether you have a PlayStation or not, if you're an Xbox guy, there was stuff out there that was very exciting to see. And if you're a gamer and not a fanboy, period, you can appreciate those things. Like I said, I can really appreciate and love what Destiny's done despite never having played it. Just because to see the evolution of what it does and stuff like that. It's just Sony's doing the same thing with the PSX. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft starts to do something very soon. Nintendo does these mini directs of their own, their Treehouse Lives and whatnot. So, I mean, that's their kind of version of this. They won't do it once a year, but they'll do it multiple times. It's time that this industry shifts in this manner. I think we're starting to see the beginning of it where they don't need to rely on E3. E3 is still a great asset to them, but they're kind of stretching their legs, showing we don't really need to have it if we don't want to. So I find that intriguing, but a lot of good things. So, Devin, overall, what is your thoughts on day one?
Day one, 10. It's great. I mean, How can it not be a 10? I got to see The Last of Us Part 2 and some new Uncharted. I mean, Jesus. I can't be any happier there. I mean, they threw Crash Bandicoot and Power Rapper the Rapper out there. Like, it's like PlayStation heaven. It was definitely a 10. I'm just so happy to be able to be here to experience it and be on the floor and see all the stuff. Like, it's been awesome. I'm loving it out here right now.
Excellent. Well, it's that time, boys and girls. We start to wrap up the show. But before we do, we're going to let you know where you can link up with us specifically. Let's go with Kyle first. Where can people find you?
So you can follow me on Twitter, or you can become my friend on the PSN. Same name, it's just Psychocross, CYCOCROSS. Otherwise, you can see some stuff from me on the Play Some Video Games. I write something every week. Usually it's the PSN Picks of the Week, but then I sprinkle in other things in there as well. So be sure to check that out there, or come chat with me on either of those platforms.
Excellent. And Devin, since you're reporting, where can people link up and see some of the pictures you've tweeted out and stuff like that before you publish your thoughts on the website?
You can come check me out at DevATIS on Twitter. That's pretty much where I put anything and everything that I'm doing. Other than the website, I'll definitely have some impression pieces up. But yeah, check out my Twitter. I'll post some pictures of some of the stuff that's on the floor and just some ramblings about what's going on. But that's where you can check me out.
Excellent. And, well, boys and girls, you know where to find us, playsomevideogames.com. Of course, you can feel free to email us at podcast@playsomevideogames.com. You can find us Twitter at PSVG. You can follow me, if you'd like, at PSVGKevin. Remember to like us on Facebook if you haven't already. Our YouTube channel is now branded, so you can find it at youtube.com/playsomevideogames. If you have a moment, we appreciate it if you could take some time and give us a review on iTunes. We rely on you all to keep this pirate ship afloat, and the more awareness out there, the better. So, for the last time, actually, for this year, guys, you're getting a quote-unquote live show. For the rest of the year, as far as the podcast feed, we'll be featuring our Games of the Year episodes with the guys over at the Xbox Empire, the gentlemen, of course, in the PlayStation Island, and yes, of course, the Nintendo Shack shall return for one more time before the year is over. So make sure you hear all those and check out our articles and impression pieces coming up on the site. We do have quite a few reviews that have come out this week and will continue to come out through the holiday season. So, to everyone listening, happy holidays from Play Some Video Games, and we wish you a happy new year as well. But more importantly, during this time, while opening up all the nice little gifts under the tree, and all the presents Santa stuffs in your stockings, don't forget, never stop gaming.
Thank you for listening to Play Some Video Games, the official podcast.